Hey guys, like my back traw? It's just my laundry. I was gonna do a garden video. My neighbor's mowing his lawn and the wind is blowing, so hopefully you can hear me, but it's like 26th of June and I want to get this done. So start up by the fig tree because that's usually where I start. We'll go up that way. Oh, it's done. I have some bad news. So if you saw my last update, which I actually only just posted a couple days ago, my fig tree looked awesome, and then something happened. I don't know. We had a lot of rain, but this area is not super soggy. But anyway, all of the growth completely died. It looked like it was getting better, and then it completely died. So I actually cut that off, and I was so bummed. Like, I was literally crying actual real tears over this fig tree. But luckily it had a pretty decent, I mean, it was only small. It was only like this big. But it had a pretty decent root structure, and it's come up from the base, so I'm so excited about that. We have some other fig trees in the yard, so I'm trying to do some cuttings, do some air layerings, do a little experimentation, and try to make some extra, I mean, as many fig trees as I can fit in this yard, I would love. So that's what the fig tree looks like. I just weeded and mulched this, and I need to get a little bit more mulch. This is actually an old shower curtain. It's 100% cotton. I use it for weed block, and it does a halfway decent job, and then it just breaks down. Here we have some long beans, and this is kind of like off of our porch here, and the sun comes in. This is actually afternoon sun. Hi. So the theory was to have these grow up and kind of create shade, and these are from Thailand. These are like yard long beans, are sometimes called. Our friend gave us the seeds last year.
Put on my soul.
Okay, it's okay. Go ahead. And so these are second-year seeds that my husband harvested. The interesting thing about these, I don't know if other beans are the same way, but these will grow to about this point, and then they just sit here, and then at some point they'll just shoot straight up. And I'll show you my husband's garden bed. He has some long beans down there, and they're like 10 feet high. And I think they were planted within a week or two, maybe even less of each other. So these are all long beans. Got a few volunteer things, like this is a tomato, probably should pull it out because it's probably not going to do anything. Quite a few volunteer marigolds all throughout here. There's some, let's see, this one right here is a heirloom sunflower that we got the seeds from our like co-op or whatever at the farmer's market. They were handing out seeds. These are all, I'm not sure, they're all sunflowers, I'm not sure which variety. Here's my bay plant. This is rhubarb, and I don't exactly know what's going on. It's like yellowing and getting kind of dried out along the edges, and then one big leaf completely just died. So must not be happy here. The other rhubarb is in very similar soil and it's thriving, and I don't want it to, but this one I want to grow and it's not. So anyway, we'll go down here. I'm not even going to show you the grapes, they look miserable. Hopefully you can hear me through the wind. This is my daughter's bed. She's got these awesome petunias that just keep coming and looking beautiful. She's got a few other flowers. She's got a dahlia. This is an Easter lily. I probably should cut it at the soil, but it should come back next year. She's got some beets. She actually pulled a few beets and we juiced them. She has some radishes that need to be pulled out. There's some lupine there. My husband started by seed. Here's another sunflower, and then here's a sunflower. And there's a rock she painted for her garden, but it keeps getting lost in the soil, so she put it there. And then this is nasturtium. I think she had some nasturtium somewhere else, but I'm not sure if it didn't come up. And I think these are carrot. We put a lot of carrots in here, and they didn't come up. So I gave up on them. They didn't come up in my garden either. Let's see if I can not get hit with the laundry. Woo! Okay, let's see. This is collard greens going to seed. These are radishes, probably not going to be any good. All bolted. Too late in the year for them. Here's kale. It looks kind of ragged like this because I just took a bunch off of it, but it's doing pretty good considering I didn't plant it. These are two pepper plants that I bought as transplants, and they're actually doing well. I got some other pepper plants, just bell peppers and jalapenos, and I don't know, maybe they were a little stressed, but they're not doing as well. But this one is probably my best looking pepper plant, and it's got this awesome huge pepper. That's how big it is. So it's probably at least 5 inches, and it's nice and blocky, and this is a purple bell pepper, and it's called Tahitian Sunrise, I think. It's a sweet bell pepper. I think it looks so cool with this, the lavender stalks of the red Russian kale. And then this is also a sweet pepper. It's called pickle pepper, and I'm actually surprised. I didn't think I knew that it was purple when I planted it next to this purple one, so that's kind of cool. This is like the purple bed. This is a volunteer tomato. It's doing really well. And this is a volunteer, so I have no idea. It looks like a pepper to me. And I got onion sets, so just doing their thing. I put cucumbers in here, and actually now that I say that, I see that they've come up. So there's some there. I probably put 5 or 6 seeds in here. So I don't really have anything sort of in this large swath, so hopefully I get some cucumbers to make some pickles. And then in this bed I have this back area. I try not to overplant because later in the season, you know, the warmer weather things don't have any room for anything. So this, I'm trying to plant things very close together and do sort of a square foot garden for my experiment in this bed. And so far it's doing really well. I have a lot of basil, a lot of cilantro, a lot of Swiss chard. These are all yellow wax beans. I just put them in. More Swiss chard, Swiss chard, Swiss chard. I've been going crazy on Swiss chard. It hasn't been doing well for me for the past several years. This year's doing awesome. So I plant a lot hoping to get half of it, and everything's doing well this year. So the garden in general is doing really well. But I put zucchini in here. So I know it takes up a lot of space, so I just dedicated sort of this whole half bed, even though this end of the bed is intensive planting or whatever they call it. These are some radishes. These are the black radishes. Never really got any when our first planting, but I'm still excited to see if they come up. This is cilantro. It's going to seed, which is fine. I will harvest the coriander seed. I use coriander seed quite a bit in cooking. Basil is looking awesome. And then this is a transplanted volunteer. This was a volunteer and I transplanted it into this spot. I have this stake here. I need to tie it up. I don't know what kind of tomato this is, but it looks really nice. It's got suckers. I don't usually pick off suckers. My brother actually came and he was looking through my garden and he took it upon himself to pinch off all my suckers. It's supposed to make your tomato make more tomatoes, but I don't know. I never really did that. Here we got sugar snap peas. I actually need to pick these. Hopefully they're not overgrown. Quite a few. You can see some back there and a bunch of newer ones there. This lettuce has all, it hasn't really bolted. Some of these have bolted, but a few hot days and the lettuce will turn kind of bitter. So I need to pull all this up. I'll probably, I don't know what I'll do with this. A pretty big area I could do something with. But this is my trellis for my peas. The peas aren't really going up it. And then once these peas come out, I'll put runner beans, like Roma beans. They'll climb up this trellis. So kind of have a nice big area here I could do something with. More Swiss chard. Basically just put these in and hoped that they came up, and they did. This is curly kale. I also have this, I think it's called like Toscano kale. And I just did kind of clusters in cells under the lights, and then I put them all out here. Something is eating quite a bit. I haven't seen any worms. Like this cluster here is very decimated, but then there's other clusters are doing really well. Put some nasturtiums here. This is a sunflower. And then there's this pepper here. This was just an extra bell pepper. I just stuck it here because I knew that this lettuce would be coming out. And there's little bell pepper. I think these are orange bell peppers. I got these from like a roadside stand. I got 2 4-packs, one of the orange bell peppers and one of the jalapenos. And they're doing okay, but not great. Get a nice look at some more sugar snap peas. What you got in the bucket? Oh, we got dill and raspberries. For some reason my daughter likes to pick dill and raspberries, and then the raspberries taste like dill. Is there more raspberries? We haven't picked the raspberries in a couple days.
Do you want to pick?
Yep, we can pick these. You know how you have to hold the plant and pull it. You don't just yank it off or you'll rip the plant, okay? So hold the plant like that.
Yeah.
You can use 2 hands if you need to. Take all the ones that are full and plump. See how this one's still skinny? Wait, get these ones that are plump, okay? Thanks. Okay, here's beets. I've been pulling a few of these. They're called Cylindra or something like that. They are more shaped like carrots than beets. They're pretty small. I don't know, maybe they're supposed to be small. Those ones back there are looking a little bigger. They work out really well because they slide right down the chute of my juicer really easily. This, I think, is a jalapeno I started by seed, and then there's some other peppers in here. They kind of got mixed in with some volunteers, so I don't know what's what, but whatever. Volunteer tomato, putting on fruit. This one and this one are transplants from a nursery. This one is black crim, and this one is called copia. It's a pleated tomato, lots of blossoms. I don't see any fruit just yet on this one or on the black crim. These ones are actually doing decent. They took them a while to start taking off. More Swiss chard. There's a tail end of some spinach, which probably, I don't know, maybe I'll just let that go to seed, see if it will self-seed. This is another pepper transplant. This is hot wax pepper. And the peppers look nice. You know, the plant's small, but you know what? It's giving me peppers. Compared to these peppers over here, which haven't even barely given me any blossoms. Now, this one has a little jalapeno on it. So I have 4 jalapenos, and then 3 of the 4 bell peppers are here, and then the other ones are back there. This one's probably the nicest of them, but the rest of them, they're like yellow and stunted and meh. Got marigolds here that I started by seed. They look really nice. I think those were actually collected seeds. So collecting marigold seeds is like stupid easy, so why not do it? This tomato that looks like a bird used it for a bathroom is a volunteer. This is the nicest tomato in my whole garden, and it was a volunteer. You can see how many blossoms and fruit it already has. Look at this gigantic one down here. I don't know what kind of tomato this is. It looks more like a beefsteak type, which is nice. I don't usually grow beefsteak tomatoes. This giant squash is a volunteer, and I think it's an acorn squash. I think I had a volunteer acorn squash last year. It's making flowers, and it's making female flowers, and some of them look okay, but then they just kind of do that. See these down here? Maybe because those are in the grass, they don't fare too well. I don't know. I just probably should rip it out. I just need to rip it out. The plant looks good, right? There's some other ones. See, they look promising, and then they don't do well. So I don't know. The plant's getting bigger, so maybe it just needs to establish more. But yeah, this, I think, is the same thing in this bed, and soon it's going to become one. While I can go through here, I will. These are also volunteer tomatoes, and look at these. Look at these tomatoes on here. I have a feeling these might, these ones look a little different. These might be the same plant. I bought a bunch of tomatoes from a pick-your-own farm, and I canned them. So I took all the skin and seeds, and a lot of it went into compost. So my compost had tons of tomato seeds. And I don't know what kind of tomatoes they were, but they were just, you know, regular round tomatoes. This bed is the jungle of free food. This bed needed dirt. I took compost from my composter and I put it in here, and everything you see here is from the compost. This end of the bed, these tomatoes I paid money, or peppers I paid money for, and you can see how spindly and small they look, versus this, which I never intended to plant anything. And it's just full of tomato plants. There's a bunch of these. I thought that these might be cucumbers, but I see one with a female flower over there, and it looks more round, so maybe it's pumpkin. And see, they're just going everywhere. Tomatoes are going everywhere. They're already putting on fruit. These look like maybe aroma-shaped tomato. I had really good luck with Juliet tomatoes, and they're more of an oval tomato. But these, whatever this is, it's like climbing over the tomatoes, and then the tomatoes grow up through, and then they climb over. You can see how they're just climbing up over everything. This one's coming up here. I put this, this is an opened up tomato cage that I put up here to keep the peppers. Then the peppers didn't do anything. I was going to use it to tie the peppers up. Peppers didn't do anything, and now this, whatever this vine is taking over. Let me see if I can find that one female flower to show you what the fruit is looking like. Oh, here it is. See that? So it's really furry, and it's round. So if you have any guesses, leave them in the comments down below. Furry and round, and looks, the flowers look like cucumbers versus like a squash flower. There's another female flower right there. Alright, these are the other peppers. Yeah, see, barely even putting on blossoms, let alone putting on much fruit. Looks like this marigold has a bud. That's exciting. This is not much of anything's going on in here. I put asparagus crowns in here. There's some volunteer dill kind of taken over here. And then this, which kind of has the similar appearance to the dill. This is asparagus, that's asparagus. Dill and asparagus is going on in here. But I kind of love dill flowers, like the size of dinner plates. And they'll just throw seeds everywhere, and I'll get dill again next year. And these lettuce plants need to be pulled out. And then the garlic actually cut scapes off. I filmed a video trying to do this video earlier in the month, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get scapes. And then I looked and there were scapes, like on camera. I'll have to insert that clip, it was pretty funny. Actually, look at that. Maybe I have scapes, I didn't even know it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. Look at that. But that is that bed. This bed I still haven't mulched. You know how expensive mulch is? We used to get mulch by the truck bed load, but we got rid of our pickup truck, and now it's like we have to buy bags and bags at a time, and I hate having all of the plastic, and it's very expensive that way, and I don't know. I need to get a few bags out here. I put a bag of mulch over by the fig tree. Here's another fig. This is an Italian honey fig. It has put on tons of growth. This basically died back to nothing. You can see how big it is now. And then there's one down there too. That one had died back to nothing, and it's really nice. That's the one, I think that's a Chicago Hardy or a Turkish Brown. This is an Italian honey fig, which are nice, but it doesn't seem as prolific, so I want to probably try to clone one of the more prolific ones. And then this is our raspberry. I am so excited about how well the raspberry is doing. It started off as one little plant, and it's just coming up everywhere, and probably for the last 2 weeks we get a good handful of raspberries pretty much every day, and my daughter does a really good job picking them. I put some rubber snakes in here to keep the birds away, but I don't know that they are really bothering them. See another snake in there. I don't know that they're really bothering them. I haven't really even seen any evidence of birds coming in here, and I haven't seen the birds, and I haven't seen evidence of birds having been in here. It does look like there is some damage to the leaves here, and I think there's the culprit. They do the same thing to our grapevine, so to just pick them off is what I usually do. I don't really know what else to do for those are Japanese beetles. Another snake hard at work. Let's see all this. This is all creeping Charlie. This is all raspberry, and this is all hops, and it's all kind of coming together here. The hops are looking good. See some little hop, I got them blossoms, cones I think is what they're called. They look like little pine cones. We got some hops growing, going up the trellis. If you look up here, there's some really nice ones. And there's a lot there too. So those are Cascade hops. These are the Concord grapes, doing a lot better than the Chambourcin grapes. But there's the little ferments there. These are looking okay. Nice cluster. Anyway, here is strawberries. Looks like a tomato is here. My husband started some from seed. I think all of his tomatoes are from seed. This is Morning Glory. We've been fighting it for years. Horrible stuff. Here is his fig that's actually putting on fruit. Look at those beautiful baby figs. Another one down there. There's some more down there. Yes, 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 yes. So this one actually did grow out of old growth and sprouted from the bottom. Everything else died all the way back. It's always a worry through the winter whether the figs are going to survive. That's nice. Alright, let's see what's going on in here. This is not my garden, so I'll do my best to describe what's going on here. Looks like he's got some beets. And I think these are the same beets, the cylindrical beets. Got some tomato plants. This is a Carolina Reaper pepper. He also did some jalapenos from seed, which I think are here and here. This is that weed, that Virginia ground cherry. And you can see next one is actually putting on fruit. So they look like little tomatillo or ground cherry husks, but I'm pretty sure it's just a weed. And there's another pepper. He's got okra. It's okra and okra. And then here's the long beans. See how they go up? See if I can show you without showing too much of my neighbors. And looks like they got buds ready to blossom to make beans, so that's exciting. Got tomatoes here. I think this is okra as well. Pretty sure. He grew a lot of radishes this year, which is good because my radishes didn't do great. And then this might be a cucumber. I know he tucked some cucumbers away in some hidden places. Oh yeah, lots of little buds on there's one on the long beans. So in like our garden beds and stuff, he hid some cucumbers. And then here over by the compost, there's more tomato volunteers. And another one of those squash volunteers. Anyway, I guess that'll do it for June. Hopefully you could hear me. Hopefully I don't have to refilm this. This was my second attempt, but I wanted to do a good job because the garden is doing really, really nice this year. So, hooray for that. Love to know what you're growing. Leave me some comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.